July 22nd, and we have just finished this evening's Monday Night Raw. It's just gone off the air, and it was an entertaining Raw. It wasn't anything particularly special. It was just another week on the road to the biggest party this summer, SummerSlam, of course. And here we are on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. I am your host for this evening, Mike Paden, lead host of the Keeping Kayfabe podcast. Joining me this evening, I have Anthony Mango, lead host of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. Anthony Mango, what is shaking, dude?
I don't have a joke this week for the what is shaking thing. I'm surprised, but I'm a little too tired to think of one, so not much.
Did the 3-hour Raw put you to sleep, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, no. Oh,
Except
no.
for the end.
Yes. Drew White is also with us this evening.
Hi.
I don't know what to introduce you as, the son of the fortune millionaires. The fortunate son.
Yes, let me tell you, bounce houses equals millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
And also with us this evening, Paul Hibbard. Paul, what is shaking, dude?
Not much. I got a couple DJ jobs coming up in August, but first of all, happy birthday to Fandango.
Oh, I did not know that it was his birthday today.
Jared Lawler mentioned it when he was coming out. I think that's the only mention they gave to it.
Oh.
Summer Rae tweeted something, but yeah, whatever.
Well, happy birthday to Mr. Fandango. I sure hope he celebrates it with a special dance.
A horizontal Fandango.
You're not saying it right. It's fun. Done. Go.
All right, guys, we're going to start running down the show here. If anyone listening would care to call in and talk to us and give us your opinions of tonight's show, you could do so by dialing area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. Call in and give us your thoughts about tonight's events, your thoughts of the builds on the road to SummerSlam, what you think we might see at SummerSlam, whatever you want to do. Call in and join us here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. So, tonight's show emanated from Texas University in Austin, Texas. And Texas, I actually think, is one of the better crowds they can go to. So this makes 3 weeks in a row that we've seen them in pretty good crowds.
Well, they had to make up after that Sioux City or whatever it was.
Sioux City.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, so the show began where we had a really deep drum roll introducing the Raw general manager, Brad Maddox. Woo! This entrance was awesome. I love the really pomp and circumstance they gave to him coming out in his fantastic suit with the bright blue pants and, as Paul kept referring to it, the shirt that was way too tight.
That was way too tight. I'm sorry. That whole suit, that whole outfit was way too tight. If John Cena points it out, it's way too tight.
That's not the most egregious error when it comes to suits today. Did you see McMahon's tie at the end? Jesus Christ.
Paul Heyman had a pretty wicked tie, too.
That was like 8 different ties all vomited on each other.
But who's going to be the guy there to tell Vince McMahon how ugly his tie is?
Nobody, that's who.
Maybe that's why he wears that, because he's like, let's see who's going to say something about this.
If somebody says something, they're getting a push.
That's why he wore the salmon coat.
Well, he just did that because he wanted to beat Mark Henry at doing it.
No, he wore it because when he was crying and his lips started puckering, he wanted to look like a fish.
Oh, bad joke. Oh.
So Brad Maddox welcomes us to Austin, Texas for Monday Night Raw. He advertises that the opening segment will be the contract signing for the WWE title match between John Cena and Daniel Bryan. He introduces John Cena, who comes out first, and Maddox starts making some quips about John Cena's choice of Daniel Bryan and making it sound like it was a foolish decision, mostly based on the fact that Daniel Bryan was smaller than John Cena. I don't know who he consulted for that, maybe the Bellas.
I get jokes.
Daniel Bryan comes out. Cena starts making a speech about how it's not about size. He calls out names like
Sorry.
Shawn Michaels, folks like that. He even takes a cheap shot at Great Khali, saying, hey, if it's supposed to be about size, just take this belt and just put it on Khali, why don't you?
Why not, damn it?
And that's why Natalia's on Total Divas.
Exactly.
Brad Maddox tells Bryan that he will have the chance to prove that he is the best contender by displaying not one, but multiple matches tonight.
And not even, I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to mention that later.
Okay. Well, The first match that we end up getting of the evening is Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. The first thing you had to notice about this match was Sheamus had this nasty, disgusting bruise on his leg.
Can I go into medical jargon?
Yeah, please.
That was a severe hematoma.
I did not notice the bruise on his, or the severe hematoma on his leg.
Are you serious?
That's apparently what Jerry Lawler thought it was.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even watch the first half.
Oh,
that's funny.
Kind of hard to have seen it then.
Yeah.
This match ends when Sheamus goes for white noise, but his injured leg gives out under him, and Del Rio gets a roll-up for the pin. Yeah, this match
exactly.
Drag. This was not a great start to the show. So the next match we had was between Christian and Titus O'Neil. One point, Titus starts using a whistle as he's kicking Christian in the corner, which I thought was kind of fun.
I like that.
That's something that Titus O'Neil can take and make his own.
He certainly doesn't have anything else going for him.
You combine that with the dog bark.
What did you say? That move blew?
That move blew, yeah. Christian ends up winning with the kill switch. Good for Christian.
Yeah, he's got to beat somebody.
Yeah.
I actually thought this was a good outing for Titus O'Neil. He showed a lot of prowess. He showed a lot of maturity since he's started in the WWE. He came up with some good creative moves, and Christian went along with it and played with it and made it better. I actually thought this was an okay match.
All right, guys, we got our caller on the line, and it's our favorite caller, JD from Pittsburgh, I believe. JD, how's it going?
Guys, happy Monday. What's going on?
What's up, JD?
As far as the show tonight, though, not much. As far as the Raw show tonight, it wasn't bad. I mean, Brad Maddox this week, however, eventually went to the heel role this week, apparently more often than not. And you know what? I mean, is it me, or is he tonight acted like the biggest jackass there ever was this side of the pike? I mean, seriously, come on. I mean,
he had almost like that Eric Bischoff scumbag feel to him in the.
He did tonight. You're right. He really did tonight in a lot of ways. I mean, as far as Daniel Bryan goes tonight, MVP again, hands down. I mean, the Cesaro match was incredible. I mean, when he announced to Alex Riley, however, originally that wait for the next person to come out, I mean, a lot of people thought it was going to be the Big Show, if you remember, and it just.
And he never made his return tonight.
He was supposed to be cleared for tonight, though. That's the thing. And obviously with the tapings this week and the way the schedule's going to be, Howard, you figure one of the tapings he might return. But where they're going to put him is beyond me. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Rob Van Dam, Bear was a good match tonight. The Sheamus Del Rio match in the opener was pretty good, too. I think that and the main event between, if you want to call it the second to last main event, if you will, with Bryan and Cesaro were the only two highlights of the show. The Punk Heyman thing was really good again tonight. No Wyatt family, which really surprised me. But I am just getting sick to death of seeing the McMahons every week on TV. It's just continuing to get more and more bullshit by the week. I mean, you see Triple H sucking up the Maddox, and then Stephanie steps in, and then Maddox has that scumbag quality, like you said, obviously kissing Vince's ass. And speaking of kissing ass, was it me, or did Vicky have to kiss his ass, basically, to get her job back on Friday nights? I mean, that is absolute bullshit that they had to put her back on Friday nights. She does not need to be on television 24/7. I'm tired of seeing her on TV. They need a better GM, if you ask me, on SmackDown. And what they did last Friday was a travesty, and I think they should have Booker or Teddy basically run the Friday night show. They don't need to have Vicky back on TV as the GM figurehead. If they want to do something with her, make her a manager, because they were talking about making her a manager of Ryback. Seriously.
All right, so wait, I did not watch SmackDown this week, so Vicky is the GM of SmackDown now?
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
apparently, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh.
No, she was. And, I actually kind of like your idea. I wish they actually did have Vicky come out and become the first woman to join the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club.
Well,
so, I mean, I don't think the story's
should have happened.
I don't think the story's over. I don't think it's just going to be a pure, quick transition with Vicky Guerrero being in office. It looks like this story's going to continue and be a little bit of a power struggle.
But sorry. Go ahead.
We don't need to see. No, I was just saying, we do not need to see her on television. If they want to put her on TV, put her in a managerial. We don't need to have her back as the GM figurehead anymore. We do not need to see that. I'm sorry. It's getting stale. And Vince is just getting more and more just idiotic by the week. I mean, I don't need to hear the same crap from Vince's mouth that we hear from Stephanie and Triple H every week. I mean, it is getting more and more ridiculous by seeing the McMahons week in and week out on TV. Seriously.
I still think you don't even need GMs anymore. Just get rid of them for a while. A full year without the GM concept, just as a breath of fresh air.
I agree, but there has been talk, however, that this maxing, and I think you guys may have mentioned, or I heard it from someone, this is going to last a few months, and then they're talking about bringing in Ric Flair, maybe, possibly, as the next GM. I know, and I just shudder to think if they do that.
But do you guys agree that Booker is done? He's got to be done.
Done? Why would he be done?
I think after this whole thing, like, he's had surgery, and he looks so tired. And I just think that Booker has got to be done with this whole thing. Yeah, he'll have some sort of backstage role with the superstars and the hiring and everything, but I don't think he's got it in him to do this stuff.
I agree. I mean, I'm going to agree with you because I think Booker has really, you're right, he has lost the step a little since, even before the injury and the surgery. Yeah, he hasn't done much since the whole King Booker thing. He doesn't wrestle that much anymore. I mean, he does obviously have a school in Houston with Stevie Ray's brother, and that's pretty cool, and I think that would be nice if he did something like that. But, I mean, there has been talk they might have him feud with Teddy, and I just can't see that happening, you know? I mean, I think he should just if they want to do something with the GM, make Teddy Long, like I said, stay on Friday nights and have the Weasel on Monday nights and Brad Max. Don't put Vicky on, but just they won't do it, obviously. They're just so stupid. They're blind.
So would you guys say that Brad Maddox is back and better than ever?
Well, in a perfect world, what would you do with this situation, JD? Who would be your GMs on both shows?
As far as Raw goes, I'd like to say Teddy because Teddy knows most of the talent, and I think Teddy would be perfect for that role. If not, then I could see someone like maybe Edge, possibly, maybe. I mean, there was talk Edge originally would be a GM, and I could see that because Edge has respect of most of the guys in the back, and it would be nice to see that. If not, I would move Edge to Friday. And if they keep Vicky on Friday, and if they don't get rid of her, however, then I think they should replace her, but it's hard to say who on Friday nights they would go with, though, you know? I mean, Bischoff is an option, yes, I could see that happening, but like I said, it's hard to say, but it's just, we don't need the same old BS, you know? I'm going to say Edge, so we'll have to wait and see, but I think, I'm going to go with Teddy and Edge right now would be my two, really. Just my GMs.
All right, JD, your high point and your low point of Raw tonight.
High point, definitely Cesaro and Daniel Bryan by far. I mean, great match. I mean, Cesaro finally, I'm just getting tired of hearing We're the People by those guys, obviously, every week, but I think Cesaro upped his ante tonight, obviously, in my book. The low point, without question, and I'm going to say it right now, the Miz TV segment with the Diva. This thing is going to, I'm telling you right now, this show is going to totally reek of failure. Vince should be ashamed that they're putting it on. We don't need to hear the Bellas run their mouth every week. We don't need to see the Funkadactyls. Then we have this stupid redhead slap the king. And then, of course, we have this other one, JoJo. I mean, come on. This was a waste of a segment. They could have put on a match like the Usos versus the Shield if they were smart here, like we saw earlier in the evening. But instead they say, no, we're going to probably save that maybe for SmackDown or Raw this week or next week. But the Miz TV segment was the low point of the night, and like I said, Daniel Bryan's match was the high point, as was the opener.
Absolutely. All right, JD, anything else on your mind this week?
Nope. I'll talk to you guys again next Monday.
All right, JD, always good hearing from you. Have a good week, dude.
You too, guys.
See you, JD.
See ya.
All right, JD, one of our most wonderful callers we have here on Mega Powers Radio. If you would like to call in on our show tonight, the Monday Night Raw post show here on Mega Powers Radio, you can do so by dialing area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. All right, guys, we left off with Christian and Titus O'Neil. We'll move on from there and go into a backstage segment that we had, which was an interview with Ryback, talking about how he's going to make people be intimidated by him, specifically Josh Matthews. And how much of a man can you really feel like intimidating Josh Matthews? And I don't think it's Josh Matthews. I remember Brock Lesnar, like, attacking poor Josh Matthews when he was just trying to do his job.
Josh is so much better than this. It's ridiculous.
You remember when Randy Orton was intimidating Josh Matthews?
No.
Nobody remembers this on SmackDown when Randy Orton and John Cena had their little moment, and John Cena did Randy Orton's little thing, his throwing his arms up in the air and making him seem gay. Nobody remembers this.
I don't remember Orton. He wasn't on the show tonight. So with WWE mentality, if they're not immediately on the show, then they don't exist anymore.
Is Josh Matthews kind of like the modern-day equivalent of the Coach?
The Coach, damn it.
Without as much entertainment.
Man, I miss the Coach, but let me tell you, I went back. He has one of the worst theme songs of all time. We spent a lot of time making fun of the Rob Van Dam and Caitlyn theme songs. The Coach's theme song is pretty terrible.
How did this theme go? I don't remember.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. Everybody on your feet.
Anybody remember when the Coach did the Charleston for The Rock?
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's only gonna be a matter of time before like Fandango makes Josh Matthews do the Fandango dance.
No, there is no way. There is no way Josh Matthews will do anything except stand there and look like a scared little puppy. I'm just saying. He doesn't have that entertainment in his blood, you know? You know what I mean? At least Coach was on ESPN and he had some sort of showmanship. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Maybe a better comparison is, and I like Josh, so I don't want to make this like seem like I'm taking the piss out of him or whatever, but he's kind of more so the Todd Pettengill.
Ooh, yeah.
Todd Grisham.
Well, Todd Grisham's just garbage.
I know. I just wanted what you say.
Poor Grisham.
Todd Grisham.
Yeah. All right, guys. So next thing we had was Mark Henry coming out to address the crowd. He had some great one-liners in here. My favorite of which was, "My heart don't pump Kool-Aid."
Which is great. Mark Henry's the fucking man.
I dare anybody not to make a racist joke when he said that.
No, you see, what I actually thought it was is because he used to wear those red outfits when he came out teaming with MVP, and he looked like the Kool-Aid man.
Hey, Kool-Aid!
So he calls out the Shield, who answer his call, and they start attacking him, but the Usos come out to save the day, and the Usos actually getting a pretty decent cheer when they came out.
Yeah.
They're actually making somebody of this team. And you know, even after the match they had with the Shield, they're keeping it going.
That's what they have to do.
So next we have a backstage segment with John Cena and Daniel Bryan in the locker room. Essentially what happens here is Daniel Bryan is urging John Cena to not come out and assist him in any of the matches, no matter how much he feels like he has to.
Not really much to talk about in this. I mean, they kind of do this thing all the time when they have like that, not necessarily like a power struggle, but that kind of thing where they need to fight for the respect and all that. And
yeah, it's like one step under. They're always like, "Yo, we don't care for each other, but we're on the same team, so we're gonna have to get along tonight."
Right.
You better stay out of my way.
Well, I'm gonna have your back there, but if you cross me, then we're gonna have a problem.
I will not hesitate to punt you in the skull.
Well, you know, sometimes I wish random people would just punt John Cena in the skull. That would be nice. I mean, come on.
I don't think that's nice. You're punting someone in the skull.
Random people, like some fan runs into the crowd from the crowd and just kicks John Cena in the head.
You just get like random reports like from like Randy Orton kicking like a stewardess in the head on an airplane.
Cena, give me my peanuts.
No, it's like that backstage segment when DX came back, and it was Shawn Michaels just going through the hallways, just randomly sweet chin music everyone who goes by.
That was amazing.
That was so great.
What was the guy's name? He's like, I just kicked Steve or something like that.
I don't remember, but that was a damn good segment.
God, that was great.
Sorry.
Go
ahead.
No, finish up this.
I'm sorry. I just can't stand when John Cena comes out and talks to Stu, the main cameraman at the top of the ramp. Someone should sweet chin music him every time he talks to Stu.
His name's Stu. How do you know that?
Because he says it right in the camera. He says, Stu, this is the night. Oh, yeah, look at this crowd. Woo!
Yeah, you think that's bad? You should watch, like, late 90s WCW. Everybody talked to the camera. Everybody. Especially, like, DDP. DDP was especially heinous with it.
Oh, I forgot about that. Thank you, Paden.
No, you know who didn't talk to the camera? Alex Wright. He was too busy. Being Fandango before Fandango.
Right.
But he was German.
Ooh, he's got a good point. What do you got to say to that, Tony? Huh?
I say let's move on to the next segment.
It's more like the first Antonio Cesaro. Yeah, all right. The next segment we have here is Dolph Ziggler versus Darren Young. We actually got to see both of the primetime players in singles action tonight. Dolph Ziggler wins
Millions of dollars.
Dolph Ziggler wins this match via the zigzag. After the match is over, Big E Langston comes out to attack Ziggler, but Ziggler gets the best of him and gets away pretty much unscathed.
Yes.
And that was that.
So pretty much what I'm going to take away from this is that Ziggler needs a new finisher, and yeah, that's about it.
We got to see both of the primetime players, but not a return of somebody that they actually advertised.
He showed up on the pre-show. He's on Superstars, I bet.
Like, but before this, I was checking out WWE always posts these 5 points to pay attention to on Raw, and I think number 2 was the return of the Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Nothing happened.
And another one of them on there was to pay attention to what may happen with the Wyatts. So we didn't see the Wyatts yet either.
So we didn't see Randy Orton, or the Wyatts, or Kane, or Big Show.
Or
what
Kofi.
else are we missing? Well, Kofi's been out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I feel like there was someone else that was just not on the show at all tonight for no reason whatsoever. I don't know.
Jericho.
Well, Jericho's gone.
Oh yeah, he's taking a sabbatical. That's
We'll think of it eventually. So next we get The Miz, who hosts a live abortion.
Oh, come on. You're being too harsh on the greatest segment of Raw history. Come on.
This was
because it
Miz
was the
TV.
shortest.
It was pretty short. It was Miz TV, where he's hosting the cast of the Total Diva show. And oh my gosh, this was just atrocious. Like, they show a clip of it, was absolutely grating to every sense of my body. And then he invites Jerry Lawler into the ring for some reason, who introduces himself to the 2 new ladies. One of them slaps him in the face, and then the segment's over.
it was so bad that both The Miz and Lawler didn't even get the focal point diva's name right. They both called her Eva Maria, and she has to flat out go, "My name is Eva Marie," and nobody's watching this segment anymore.
Well, bam, slap in the face.
And didn't they just do a whole fucking thing that they showed where literally the entire premise of this little section of the Total Divas show was you, meaning Eva Marie, look like the Bella Twins, which she doesn't, so you should dye your hair blonde. Yeah, I should go blonde. And what is she? A fucking redhead.
Like a bright neon red, too.
Jesus, this is fucking awful. I want to, oh my god, I don't even fucking...
And, you know, it's fine if that happened on the show, but if you're going to pick a clip to highlight it, why would it be that one?
And that's supposed to be the clip that makes people go, I want to watch this. Oh,
Girl,
yeah, I guess
talking about hair.
Yeah.
They highlighted it because you could see one of the Bella's boob jobs in a sports bra. That's why they highlighted it.
Just put a picture of her tits on there and people will watch it more often. I mean, Odyssey Knockouts tournament on YouTube, it gives you more than that.
Okay, so the real question is, which was worse? This Miz TV segment or the one we had a few weeks ago backstage when they were just arguing with each other?
Backstage.
I'm going to go with the backstage, too, because there was absolutely no organization to that whatsoever. Whoever produced it, was like, all right, I don't know why they want us to do this, but we're going to do it like this. You're not going to talk very much. You're only going to get 5 words, and then you're going to shut the fuck up.
Slap someone in the face.
We'll get this done fast. So, I mean, this was absolutely unnecessary, and it was horrible, but that first one was an absolute mess that they had backstage. They were just talking over each other, freaking the Funkadactyls going, church!
I mean, The Miz and Jerry Lawler backed out of that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Of course this was the better segment because they knew that this was going nowhere. Eve Marie talked for 2 seconds, and then she slapped Jerry Lawler, and then it was over. It was like puppies all over again.
And you could tell that Miz just did not want to do it. He's just like, go watch the show on Sunday. My catchphrase is awesome. Fucking alright. Can Lawler come do this instead? Fuck.
and speaking of The Miz, and I missed him actually saying this, but Tony, you caught it, that The Miz is apparently going to be the host of SummerSlam.
Well, I hope he does, has better stuff to do with it than the Total Divas crap. They just give him that for the whole fucking show.
What exactly does a host of SummerSlam do? Is it going to be like the host of WrestleMania when The Rock... is he going to come out in The Rock's match at SummerSlam? Is that what's going to happen? It's going to be Payback. Oh, no, Payback was 2 months ago. Never mind.
Yeah, The Miz is just going to interfere in the match. That's all that's going to happen.
Why would he get Payback? He won the match for him.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it's pay it forward.
Oh, okay, pay it forward. Okay, he's just going to fight Haley Joel Osment.
I hope he skull crushes finales the Cena, and then Daniel Bryan wins the championship.
I hope he gives the skull crushing finale of a fucking Total Divas show. Before it even begins.
FYI, I totally want a motorboat in Talia.
Oh, that's the spirit.
I'm just saying, she's got some boobies.
All right, guys, we're talking about the Miz TV segment on Monday Night Raw tonight here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. If you'd like to call in and give us your thoughts about that segment or anything else that happened on Raw tonight, you could do so by dialing area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. Of course, that's only for our live listeners. If you're listening to us in post, you should be joining us live. We go on the air immediately following the conclusion of Raw every Monday night on blogtalkradio.com/megapowersradio.
Please call in. I want to talk more about how awful this segment was. I want to run down every fucking shitty minute of this.
But there wasn't really anything awful about it. There was The Miz, The King, Eva Marie, and then they were done. There wasn't really anything as awful as what we saw a couple weeks ago. I'm just saying, this was a blessing. This was a blessing, for God's sake.
I wouldn't go that far. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as the segment we had a couple weeks ago, but it was still pretty bad. And
I'm just saying,
as JD said, low point of the show.
Well,
I'm just saying, compared to what was the other week,
That's kind of like saying, well, I only got one arm amputated, so it's not as bad as it could have been.
Well, Paul, let me ask you, do you think there was something worse on tonight's show?
Oh, God, that's a good question. You know what? No, I don't. But, it wasn't as bad as the letdown I had from, Big Show not returning and the Wyatt family not taking another victim.
Were you really upset about the Big Show not being there?
Okay, ever since the Big Show debuted, I have loved the Big Show because he's a freak. And he's 7 feet tall, he's 420 whatever pounds. And I was really looking forward to his return. And then I saw the Divas thing, and I was like, this is okay, I'm not really mad, but... I was really more mad at the Big Show not returning. I love the Big Show. I think he's a great asset to the WWE.
You done?
Yes.
Paul proclaiming his love for the Big Show.
Hey, when he came out and interrupted Stone Cold Steve Austin's match, that was pretty awesome. In the early 90s.
Yeah, in the early 90s.
Well, late 90s, sorry, my bad.
That was a
late
long
90s.
time ago.
Quick reference right here, because I'm going to forget about it if we don't mention it right now. You just said Steve Austin. When the Coulter came out later on in the episode, and he said this was named after Steve F. Austin, did anybody else just think that this was going to have like the glass shatter happen or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyway,
I definitely caught the other reference there. I mean, how could you not? We're wrestling people watching a wrestling show. All right, so after the Miz TV segment, we get another backstage one in Brad Maddox's office where he bounces first talking to Triple H and then Stephanie McMahon. I don't even remember what the heck they said, but they just have to get Triple H and Stephanie in on every show.
Yeah, something about a train and how Brad Maddox better get on that train to the future, not the dead end.
They were talking about trains, weren't they? What the crap?
It was like
they're running a train.
And it goes so awkward at the end. I remember where Maddox was like, "Train." Stephanie's like, "Train."
Something about like there's a train and you don't know where it's going, but something else about Inception.
Yeah, pretty much.
So next we have a match between Fandango. That wasn't even close, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, you were way off. You were way off, son.
He's gonna start crying over spilled milk now.
Fandango versus Cody Rhodes, and I am quite happy to see that Fandango is continuing his fire streak back on, because he was worrying me for a little while. He was kind of cold. I mean that really slowed him down, but I think he's back on track, and he's got the fan support back behind him. It was a shame, though, that he couldn't use that into a victory tonight because, well, he was facing Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes had to win. We were blessed this match, though, to have Damian Sandow at ringside doing commentary, who was just absolutely entertaining.
Yeah,
Sandow,
the savior of the masses.
There was a point where I think it was Michael Cole, or maybe it was Lawler. I think it was Cole, though. Oh, no, it was JBL, who was asking him, well, what titles have you had? And he's like, well, I am the Duke of Decency, I don't know, something else.
The uncrowned World Heavyweight Champion.
He kept saying that. Yeah.
That's right.
Sandow eventually tries to interfere in the match, but Cody Rhodes ends up disaster kicking the Money in the Bank briefcase into Fandango's face, allowing Cody Rhodes to hit the crossroads and get the pinfall for the victory.
So in other words, Fandango should have won by DQ.
Yes, Fandango should have won by DQ. These refs are not doing their jobs properly at all.
Does this have anything to do with your fantasy league?
No, it's true. He kicked a briefcase into his face. Not to mention an outside superstar stood on the ring apron.
Yeah, the ref should have hold of that match, you know.
There was a foreign object involved in the match. And no, I'm not talking about Sandow just because he's Armenian.
Oh.
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 All right, so next we had CM Punk coming out. He had a long speech that, listen, I thought CM Punk is only supposed to put people to sleep when he does his finishing move.
You didn't like it?
No. Did absolutely nothing for me. He says he does not fear Brock Lesnar, and finally, he ends up challenging Brock Lesnar to a match at SummerSlam and dubs it the Best versus the Beast.
I thought that was good.
That was good. I'll give the name of the match that they're titling it.
Is it better than the Perfect Storm?
It's much better than the Perfect Storm.
Yes, of course, because they called Brock versus Triple H the Perfect Storm.
That movie sucked.
That's true.
Yeah, it did. That's why they didn't call it that.
Oh, goodness gracious. So finally the segment gets saved when we have Paul Heyman appearing on the Tron. And their back and forth, as always, was absolutely entertaining. Thanks to Paul Heyman.
Yeah, well, gosh, CM Punk has been so stale ever since he came back at Payback. I find his matches aren't as entertaining, and he just seems like he doesn't want to be there. And like when he's on the mic, he just like talks in his low monotone voice, like, you know, I'm gonna beat him now, and it's just really annoying.
Well, see, the thing is, he had to take the place of Randy Orton as the number 2 babyface.
It's
like, well, this is what the number 2 babyface does. So there you go. I don't know. Any other thoughts on this, though, before we move on? I mean, I don't have much to say about it. Maybe one of you guys do.
I was just glad that CM Punk pointed out Paul Heyman's fat neck.
He did? I didn't even notice that.
Be a star.
I mean, come on. We've been tiptoeing around it for years. He has a fat neck, for God's sake.
What do you call the walrus for?
He has 2 chins.
Well, they do call him the Walrus in the WWE universe. Mainly the King. He's the only one who really calls him that now, and the McMahons. That's about it.
They do call him the Walrus, but they never accurately, address it. And he has a fat fucking neck, for God's sake.
That's what he needs to have a tag team underneath the whole Heyman thing. He could have 2 Asian wrestlers and call them the Double Chins.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
Expecting the 4th wall of that one. That's damn sure.
Moving on. The next match we had was Rob Van Dam versus Wade Barrett. This match began with Rob Van Dam getting caught showboating at the beginning of the match. Once again, he can't just focus on getting the match started. No, he's got to go and point to himself and say, Rob Van Dam, shrug.
Maybe he does that all the time because he's so high he forgets his name, so he just keeps wanting the fans to say what it is. Who the fuck am I? Oh, that's right.
There was even a point where Wade Barrett had Rob Van Dam in a headlock, and he's still pointing to himself as if he's going, Rob Van Dam, Rob Van Dam, Rob Van Dam.
Oh, my God.
Rob Van Dam ends up winning, though, after a 5-star frog splash.
And then he gave a good shrug after he won. But anyways, the match, it's not as good as his match with Jericho last week, but, he was working with Jericho, and Wade Barrett ain't no Jericho.
But he was trained by him.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's Jericho.
This was a good match. I honestly think this was a really good match because you have the flexibility of RVD versus the in-your-face, whatever. What do they call him? The bare-knuckle fighter?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I thought this was a good matchup because they have such different fighting styles. And RVD took advantage at his point. Wade Barrett took advantage at his point. And I honestly think this would be a good rivalry. I really do. I wasn't kidding about that.
Yeah, I just didn't, I don't know. I guess the match didn't really hatch on to me as it did to you, Paul.
Yeah, Wade Barrett didn't even get an entrance, so it obviously wasn't anything they're planning on being a focal point going forward.
Yeah, Wade Barrett's just kind of they're just slowly getting rid of him. It just feels like that they're your time's done.
He's the next Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Imagine that if Wade Barrett eventually ended up joining the 3-man band.
Make it the 4-man band.
The tables were turned where Wade Barrett is the lackey for Heath Slater now.
That's him singing the God Save the Queen part at the beginning of his song.
Either that or he's just the groupie that follows the group.
No, he's too proud because the royal family just had another prince. He can't join anything else. He's got to be his own British self.
All right, guys, so let's go into what was our main event of the evening, the Daniel Bryan Gauntlet match. Oh,
Bam.
My goodness, this was absolutely amazing. The first people that come out is the Real Americans. Jeff Coulter starts giving a history lesson about how the city was named after the great Stone Cold Steve Austin. Daniel Bryan taps out Jack Swagger, who's his first opponent, very quickly with a yes lock. And it's a 3-minute match, but I'll tell you what, really good 3-minute match. Probably the best 3-minute match I've ever seen, actually. Jeez. Really high-paced, lots of really great wrestling. What more can I say about it? I don't know. You guys take over.
It made Swagger look like he actually was worth a damn.
Yeah, well, that wasn't until the second match, which was with Antonio Cesaro, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. This whole match was absolutely phenomenal. My favorite part is when Antonio Cesaro has Daniel Bryan in a little bit of a headlock, and he starts doing about 50 uppercuts while the crowd chants no with every single one.
Yeah, it just feels like that. Even though a lot of people kind of wrote Cesaro off after after his U.S. title reign, and especially after this match, they do have plans for him, and I think that this is a good stepping stone for him to get over as part of the Real Americans, because he's obviously the star of that group, and we all know Swagger's not.
I thought Zeb Coulter was the star of it.
Well, no, it's gonna be Cesaro eventually.
With that damn mustache, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, eventually Cesaro is gonna be file for American I don't even know he's just gonna become an American. That's how he's gonna fit in.
I don't know, that snake logo might be saying something against Santino.
Where the fuck has he been?
He's been injured, wasn't he?
Canada.
Yeah, there you go.
So Cesaro at the end of the match goes for his launching uppercut, which is my absolute favorite move of his and should be his finisher, not that neutralizer thing. He goes and launches Daniel Bryan up, but Daniel Bryan reverses it into a small package and gets the pin. So Daniel Bryan is 2-0 so far in this gauntlet match. At the conclusion of this match, we go to the back with Brad Maddox, who is with Alex Riley.
For some reason.
What?
Yeah.
He tells Alex Riley basically saying, yeah, he did good there, but wait until you see what's next.
Ooh,
we go to commercial.
And we all thought it was the Big Show.
We all did expect to see the Big Show at the end of this match, but no, was not the Big Show. It was Ryback. So this match started off a little bit slower, which is fine, but in the end, this match ended up still being really entertaining. Yeah. Ryback did a lot of great playing off the crowd. He was holding his hand up to his ear while they were chanting, "You can't wrestle" at him. He was choking Daniel Bryan's face as he was chanting yes towards the crowd. Actually, there was a lot of good crowd playing throughout this match.
Yeah.
I remember Jack Swagger was like making fun of the Longhorns finger gesture.
Because he's from Oklahoma, it's the Red River rivalry.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a little fun fact for you, Mike. Paul is right about that.
I was just saying.
I don't know sports, so yeah, I assume he is right. You guys are definitely the more qualified folks to talk about such things. There was a point where there was a lot of tension in the match, actually, where Daniel Bryan had Ryback in the yes lock, and it looked like Ryback was going to tap out, but he eventually got to the ropes, to much to the dismay of the crowd. They booed heavily for that. They thought the match was going to be over there. But I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Ryback ended up going to powerbomb Daniel Bryan through a table and causes him to lose via disqualification. After the match was done, Ryback goes to powerbomb him once again, but Cena runs out for the save. Then John Cena challenges Ryback to a tables match. They never say anything about when, but luckily we go to the back once again for Brad Maddox in another segment in his office, this time with Vince McMahon. And Maddox confirms that next week we will have a tables match between John Cena and Ryback, and we will also see Daniel Bryan go against his former tag team partner, Kane.
We also got to see the infamous Vincent Kennedy McMahon tie that Anthony had mentioned at the beginning.
That was glorious.
Awful.
Oh.
I bet if you turn the lights out, that tie would glow in the dark.
Oh my gosh.
It would.
Yeah, so how about this Daniel Bryan match?
Oh, honestly, it was fantastic. You know, it was fantastic. You know, I have a feeling that his match with Cena, it's gonna go for a long time. I can see that being a 40-minute match. It's going to be a long match with the way if they're going to build it up that Daniel Bryan could be like the Iron Man of the Millennium, like the Shawn Michaels, pretty much.
I think that's actually a perfect thing that they can do. Perhaps even further down the line, if Daniel Bryan doesn't win this match, we can see him win an Iron Man match against John Cena at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
What is the next pay-per-view?
Night of Champions.
Oh, perfect. Perfect place to have an Iron Man match.
Do you think?
Absolutely.
Even though they have all the other titles that they have to defend?
Yeah.
All the other titles? You mean the other 4?
We got U.S. title, IC title, tag team, Divas.
Well, one of them is going to be on the pre-show, most likely.
Yeah.
But you also have a lot of people that need to get on the card.
Yeah, just put a bunch of teams together for the tag team thing.
Or they just don't get on the card because they're having an Iron Man match. It happens sometimes.
Well, do you think that Daniel Bryan could win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, and then they have a rematch at Night of Champions, which is an Iron Man match, which John Cena has had a couple of, pretty good matches at Night of Champions that have been, I quit or no disqualification or, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, let's not forget that John Cena took part in an unofficial Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels on an episode of Raw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was about to mention that. And I don't know, a lot of people consider that Cena's best match, if that or the Money in the Bank match with CM Punk. So we know, even though he was working with Shawn Michaels for that match, we know Cena is able to do an Iron Man match.
I think you guys are looking a little bit too into the Iron Man thing. I think we're getting Daniel Bryan winning at SummerSlam and either a standard rematch or maybe not even a rematch between the two.
Or an Iron Man match.
Because there is the potential that we could see Randy Orton cash in and then have Randy Orton against Daniel Bryan at Night of Champions.
Ooh.
And you could always have John Cena against somebody else.
You think they wouldn't just do a triple threat at that point?
They might.
You can't just shoot John Cena aside. I mean, I guess you could because you could always just bring him back in anytime you want, but it seems like John Cena would have to get some kind of rematch.
Yeah, never mind. I don't like the Iron Man idea at SummerSlam. There's too many freaking matches.
Oh, no,
they're building
it absolutely
up right
would not.
No.
It would have to be Night of Champions.
Yeah. No, at this point, there's no room on SummerSlam to do an Iron Man match. Plus, I don't think SummerSlam is the type of stage you would want to do an Iron Man match.
Yeah, good point.
I think you're going to do an Iron Man match. You need to do it at something like Over the Limit.
Yeah.
Which is no longer happening this year, apparently. I was reading a report earlier that television stations in the area are promoting it not as Over the Limit. It's now being called WWE Battleground.
What?
Battleground.
Oh, man. Okay, I feel if they're going to do that, we better have some teams, and this better be like freaking war if they're going to call it that.
Exactly. If they bring up War Games and they call it Battleground, that's fine. That's awesome. It's perfect.
Well, you know, the past few weeks they've been showing the War Games DVD. Maybe they're like hinting at maybe bringing it back.
Maybe that's where all this Triple H Vince McMahon shit's going. Every team's gonna make a War Games team.
But if it's Battleground, they gotta make a second. It's like a second Survivor Series.
Yeah. The only problem is it's right next to Survivor Series when it comes to month-wise, but who cares? Survivor Series isn't a
Survivor
big
Series
deal
is lucky
anymore.
if it has one Survivor Series match anyway.
Yeah.
So they could do it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They used to have 2, which is disappointing because I used to like the 2 Survivor Series matches.
They had one last year, but I was there, but it was an unannounced one, and then Ziggles versus Randy Mick Foley's team.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A lot of sense that made.
Yeah, because you know it was what was it? It was Mick Foley versus CM Punk. Then they put Punk in a triple threat match, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think
I remember it was supposed to be something else though, and then Dolph Ziggler just kind of like slotted in there.
Yeah.
Does anybody think they're gonna try and have John Cena break CM Punk's 434 days as WWE Championship?
No.
No, not at all.
The first thing is Bryan too good right now. And Orton's going to be taken off of him eventually. If it's not just Bryan, it'll be Orton.
Like he's won it since WrestleMania.
You got to consider this title reign was like 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
There was 3 years worth of story built up to this title reign for John Cena.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know. They always intended for him to have one of the longest title reigns of all time during that first title reign he had, but then he got injured. So maybe they are going to try to go for it again.
I just hope they don't, because they just went through this whole thing of CM Punk and his whole 434 days, and to have John Cena do it and overpass it just seems played out to me, you know?
Yeah, that would just solidify that CM Punk would never be a bigger man than John Cena.
Which he is.
Unfortunately. Well, no. Well, the thing with CM Punk and Cena is that even though that's the only thing Punk could hold over Cena's head, pretty much, is that he has a longer title reign than him, and I feel like that's about it.
That and John Cena's only beaten him once.
Yeah. No.
Bam.
Maybe.
Bam.
No, wait. Yeah, I forgot the Raw.
Right there. John Cena has only beaten CM Punk once, and I don't care if it's scripted. I don't care. Whatever, it's fake. Once. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's go around the horn here. I'm going to ask you guys what your high point of Raw tonight was and what your lowest point of Raw tonight was. Drew, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I think we all are going to be in an agreement here for the best and the worst. And probably probably the high moment of Raw would be Daniel Bryan just being Daniel Bryan and just kicking ass. And the low point, unfortunately, because I don't want to give up on this Total Divas thing, but I'm slowly beginning to, and that was probably the worst thing on tonight's Raw.
What do you mean you don't want to give up on it?
Like,
there's like a part of you that's like, there's no way this could be bad. There's no way. Why would WWE put so much money towards it and like put all these hot women if it's going to be bad?
I don't know.
Is that what you're thinking?
Well, no. Whenever WWE does something, I'm always like, okay, well, let's see. I have like high hopes. Like, well, let's see. Maybe they could pull something out of this decent. But it's starting to look like they're not going to be able to do that for this.
Goodness gracious. All right, Mr. Paul Hibbard, your high and low point of tonight's Monday Night Raw.
I hate to be a sheep like the Wyatt family calls it, but Daniel Bryan was absolutely the best tonight. And that whole Miz TV segment was the worst tonight. And they were only on there for like a minute, maybe a minute 30. As long as that promo ran, that's how long they were on TV. I have to agree with Drew. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the promo for the Wyatts was a pretty good promo, I will say that much.
Yes, it was.
All right, and Tony Mango, your high and low point of tonight's Monday Night Raw.
Low point, McMahon's tie.
Come on. Don't be hating on a tie. Come on.
High point, how many times Darren Young picked his hair.
Oh, gosh. All right, I'm going to echo what I think is the obvious choices. High point, Daniel Bryan, specifically his match with Antonio Cesaro. I think that is possibly a candidate for a TV match of the year, not counting pay-per-view matches. That match was absolutely awesome.
Oh, yeah.
High impact, high action. Both men looked like $1 million. As you said, I think this is going to be sort of the fact that Jack Swagger got a 3-minute match and Antonio Cesaro got a 15-20-minute match just shows the volumes of how much more confident they are in a guy like Antonio Cesaro than Jack Swagger. And the low point, the Miz TV segment. My goodness gracious. Yes, it was not as bad as the one a couple weeks ago, but this was still atrocious. The show needs to just air already so that they can realize how bad it is and how bad it's going to tank and cancel it so we never have to hear about it again.
What do you mean? There's no Divas division. Why do they even think this is going to be good?
Can I just point out slammy nominees for both segments, worst segment and best segment. I mean, they're both slammy nominees.
Did they even do a slammy for worst segment?
I thought they did. Maybe
They
not,
switched
but
them
they
all
should.
They do random slammies each year. I mean, they do crap like, I think they had like the worst vomit of the year or something like that the one fucking year. Like they just
That's the best hashtag of the year.
Yeah,
they doing that last year.
Yeah, there's no legitimacy to it.
Best kiss, and then it's just nominated AJ 100 times.
Right, it's total bullshit. You don't even have like the same ones every year, like the Smack Talk Award.
I thought you added new ones last year.
Yeah, but I'm keeping the same ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like 10 years from now, if he's still doing it, there's going to be like 150 awards he's going to give out.
I've never removed an award. I've only added.
Even Pro Wrestling Illustrated has removed awards, though. All right, guys. With that, I think we can start calling the show to the end. I'm going to go around the horn one final time. You guys can have a few moments to plug whatever is new and exciting in your world. Paul, you may kick us off.
Okay, I got a couple DJ jobs coming up this Sunday in August. Every Sunday, actually, the 4th, the 18th, and the 24th. You can come see me at the Shack. I do want to just plug my family's dog Murphy died recently, and we just buried her. So I want to say I love you, Murphy, and God rest in peace.
Wow, I've just been linked in our our Skype chat. Apparently, we had another wardrobe malfunction on Raw tonight, and maybe that Diva segment was not as bad as I thought it was.
It was so bad we looked away and didn't even notice that.
What was it?
Stay tuned to scoopscoopscoops.com for all the news on that. Drew White, take us over, please.
All right. Well, I'm a regular poster on Tony's Fanboys Anonymous. He's gonna plug that here in the. Oh my God! I just saw the picture. Okay, sorry. God. Okay. All right. So there's that. If you live in the Indianapolis, Indiana area and you need a bounce house, you should call Big Blast Rentals at 765-212-1521, and you can see our wide selection of 4 bounce houses, which is pretty wide. And or you could do that, or you could go to bigblastrentals.com. And one more thing that's not a very positive thing. It's kind of along the lines of Paul. It's not death. But earlier today, my dad was in a scooter accident, and he's in the hospital right now. And broken jaw, fractured in 3 spots. I believe he had. Last time I heard, he was in critical condition. So just for everyone out there, just keep him in your thoughts and prayers as the night rolls on.
My God, man, it's just like tragedy following all of us here.
Oh, well.
Tony,
it happens.
Tony, please, give us something positive to say.
Yeah, I don't have anything negative to say. I kind of feel like I should make something up and go with the crowd. But, no, only positive. Well, all right, I'll talk about how bad my Out on Limb site's doing if you want to do it or whatever. No, all things good coming from fanboysanonymous.com for everything geek. If you're into movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, anything along that kind of a wavelength, you should check out that website. Obviously, as we mentioned before, smarkoutmoment.com and youtube.com/smarkoutmoment for Smack Talk, which is every weekend on that YouTube station. And then, of course, you know, everything kind of other wrestling-related stuff is on the SmarkOutMoment.com website, and I'm also on Bleacher Report and a bunch of other places. So if you do a search for Tony Mango, Smark Out Moment, A Mango Tree, all that other kind of crap, you'll find everything coming your way.
Just to tie on to Tony's podcast about comics, check out Justice League DC Flashpoint. Really good movie. Really, really good movie. You gotta check it out.
Is that a new one?
Yeah, they just can't. It's supposed to be released July 30th, but there's a couple of leaked versions, and I saw it, and it's really good. You got to check it out. DC Justice League Flashpoint. Paradox.
All right, guys, to finish out here, I will just plug my wrestling podcast that you can catch live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. on blogtalkradio.com/DreamElite. That's Dream Elite Radio, which is called Keeping Kayfabe. On that show, we pick a main event every week and go in-depth talking about the match's build, the match itself with a play-by-play analysis, and all the fallout that happened from it. You can catch that Thursday nights at 9 p.m., like I said, head-to-head with TNA's Impact, because it's the Thursday Night War, so we're going to do the world a favor and put that company out of business once and for freaking all. Of course, tune in here every Monday night following the conclusion of Monday Night Raw for the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. And coming up before every pay-per-view, including August 18th, which is SummerSlam, we're going to be doing the SummerSlam pre-show, the biggest pre-party to the biggest party of the summer, where we will be joining together just as we are now to talk about the show, give our predictions, and all that other fun stuff. And, of course, taking your calls on the air so you can tell us what you think will be going down at SummerSlam. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. So, for Drew White, for Paul Hibbard, for Anthony Mango, I'm Mike Paden. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week here on Mega Powers Radio.